enter the number of players you want to play. Here I'm entering 2. Number 1, turn just started. Would you like to roll? Yes. Here you can see player 1 rolled 1, so his turn is done, and the total score of the player 1 will become 0. And now you can see player number 10 just has started, right? Here you can see player 2 also rolled number 1, so his turn is done and his score becomes 0. This is the code for the pig game. So now let's get into the video and let's build this project. Part number 1 is completed, introduction to the Python, and we saw all of this content in the part number 1. And then part number 2 also completed, Python basics up to the loops, right? So now our task is to do the project number 1, which is pig game on if else and loops. So the concept which are covered in the part number 1 and part number 2, I'm going to create project number 1, which is pig game on if else and loops, right? Before starting the project, I recommend you to watch all videos up to here and then come back to the project, because these are the basic concepts which I'm going to use in the project number 1. Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel techCodio. I request you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and give me some support. So now let's see the rules of the project. We have 5 rules. Rule number 1, the game has minimum 2 players and maximum 4 players in the playing round. It is just like a Ludo game. We can start with the 2 players, 3 players, and the maximum is 4 players, right? And then rule number 2, in each time a player rolls a dice as many times as he wishes. Each result get added to his round score. Rule number 3, what if the player rolls a 1, all his round score gets lost. After that, it is the next player's turn. Rule number 4, the player can choose to hold, which means his round score gets added to his global score. After that, it is the next player's turn. The final rule, the first player to reach 50 points on global score, he wins the game. These are the 5 rules you need to remember for this project. The concepts involved in this project number 1 means the complete part 2. I have not covered in the part number 2. So now I'll give some basics of functions, lists, and list comprehensions, and then we'll begin with the project. The project has 3 steps. The step 1, creating a roll dice. Step 2, choosing the players, and then step 3, building the project. The final step is combining all 3 steps together. So first we have the functions. It is used for code reusability, right? So first start with the def keyword, defining a function, and then name the function which you want to name. I'm naming it as a rolling dice. Rolling dice. So now it is a function symbol you have to add here, and then a colon, take 4 spaces, and then print hello world. So here I have created the object for function, but now I want to call this function. How can I call this function? Just write here name of the function. It is a name of function, rolling dice, and then here give the function symbol, and now click on it. Yeah, you can see it is printing hello world. So what is the basic use of this function? Means I can call the function name. I can call the function as many times as I want to call. So here also I'm calling function. Yeah, now you can see it is giving hello world. I can call as many times as I want to call. So now I'm calling again. So it is the use of the code. So in the part number 3, I'm going to teach in depth of functions. Now it is just for the understanding purpose. Next we have a list. List is a collection of different data types. Here you can see. So first take a variable lst1. So here it is a list symbol you have to give open and close square brackets. So now enter the data. Here I am entering integer, float, string, complex, and boolean. Now I want to print this list 1. Now you can see it is printing. So generally list is a collection of different data types, right? So now let's check the type of this list variable. You can see it is giving list. it is same like a string. We have the negative indexing and positive indexing. So for the variable with the index of 0, it is giving 1, and then 2. Index of 2, it is giving string. Like that, you can begin with the negative indexing also. Yeah. So now I'm going to teach a list method, append. What it does means it adds elements in the list from the end, of the list. So now I want to add, so here I want to add number 90 to the list. Just specify the variable name and then a comma, append, it is a method, and then give the number 90. This number is added to this list. So now let's print the, so now just give the variable name, press on the run button or shift enter. Now you can see 90 is added 2 times because we have executed this command for 2 times. So what is the meaning of append? Means it adds elements in the list from the end of the list. Yeah, here you can see it is adding from the end of the list. So now I want to add 100. It is added in the end of the list. Now let's see list comprehensions. First, create a variable where and take the square brackets. So here it is the append variable x for x in range 1 to 6, right? So now let's print where. Give the name of variable where and shift enter. You can see it is printing up to the 5. So it is append variable. So when we execute this statement, this variable will goes to this x. So this x goes to this range from 1 to 6. This x value has 1. So this one takes the 1. So like that, it is appending all the numbers into the list. So first we have step 1, creating the rolling dice. The dice has values from 1 to 6. When we roll the dice, it gets value between the 1 to 6 only. So first I need to import a module random, right? So then create a function f rolling dice. Give the colon and take the 4 spaces, and then here give the min value. Min value equal to 1, maximum value equal to 6. So here take a variable roll equal to random dot rand int from min value to max value, right? And then return the roll variable. So here, so for the rolling dice, I've given minimum value and maximum value. So what the random does means it generates random integers between the 1 to 6 only, right? Here I've given the starting and ending index. Then finally return the variable, because this statement will give some random value from 1 to the 6. Suppose if it gives 1, so I want to return the 1, right? So now let's call the function rolling dice. Here you can see it rolled 3. So now I want to execute it again. It rolled 1. So I want to do it again. Yeah, it rolled 4. So it is the step 1, creating the rolling dice. Yeah, I'm just taking this module help random, and then here random.randint min and max. Now we have step 2, choosing the players. So first I want to give a while loop, while true, while true. So now I want to take a player's input, enter the number of players between 2 to 4. So I want to check this players is digit. If it is digit, then enter into the if condition. So then I want to convert this players to the integer, because by default input gives only string. So I want to check. I want to give one more condition here. If players less than equal to in between 2 to 4. Yeah. So here I'm creating rule number 1, right? Choosing the players. So if this statement is true, I want to break this condition, and then else print must be 2 to 4 players. Players must be 2 to 4, and then here I want to give print invalid, try again. So here I'm giving 2 players. Yeah, it stops here only. So I want to execute it again. For this time I've given if. Here you can see it is giving invalid, try again. Yeah, because it is not digit. So that's why this is executing. So here you can see until my while statement becomes true, this while loop won't stop executing until it reaches this true condition. So here I'm giving 4. So it stopped looping because this while loop reaches to the true value. I want to check it again. So here I have given the value 7. Yeah, you can see this is right, but it is not obeying this condition. So then this is executing. Players must be 2 to 4. So I want to enter this only 4. When I enter the 4, yeah, it will stop looping, right? So it is the step 2, choosing the players. And now we have the step 3, building the project. So first I have to take current score. Here I want to create a while loop, execute this statement until it becomes true. So here I want to take a variable should roll. So input, would you like to roll? If you want to like to roll, and then press the yes, otherwise no. So here I want to check if should roll not equal to while not equal to string, then break the loop and then update my value with the rolling dice. Yeah, rolling dice means this function. It will generate a value in between the 1 to 6, right? And then I want to create one more if condition. If value equal to 1, I want to print you roll 1. So your turn is done. And then I want to update his score. Current his score becomes 0. So here also I want to start with the 0 only. So when he rolls 1, his score becomes 0. And then so here I want to break this condition. So when value becomes 1, I want to print this function, you roll 1, your turn is done, and then your current score is 0, right? And then I want to break this condition. So here I want to update the current score less equal to value. Because the value is equal to 1, I want to execute this statement. Otherwise, if the value equals to 5, so I want to add the score plus value, means 0 plus 5, it becomes 5. I want to print you rolled here value, and then here I want to print your score is current score. So here, would you like to roll or not? So give the yes. Yeah. You rolled 1, your turn is done. Because so here I have entered yes. So if it is equal to yes, break the loop and then continue, value becomes rolling dice. Here my rolling dice rolled 1. So I want to execute this statement or this condition. You roll 1, your turn is done, your score is 0, and break, right? Like that. So I want to execute this again. So yes. So now you roll 2, your score is 2. So here the rolling dice roll 2. So it is printing this print value. You roll 2 and your current score is this. Because the current score is 0, so 0 plus 2, it becomes 2. So this will execute until this becomes false. No. So it stops executing. Now let's combine all steps together. So first copy this step, paste here, and then step 2, copy here and paste here. Third step. So before executing this final step, I need to make some changes. So here I have to give max score. Max score is 50. So here I want to create player scores. For this I'm using list comprehensions. I want to append all player scores with 0. So for 0 in range of players. So I want to execute this statement separately. So first, so here in place of players I have 2. Player scores. Now you can see I have 2 players. So for the 2 players, the initial scores are 0, right? So because we are starting with the 0 scores and then we are gradually increasing the scores by playing the dice. So now for this I want to add a for loop for player ID in range of players. I want to print some statements. So here player number, player ID plus 1, just started. I want to print player total score. Your total score is, and then so for that I want to give the index of players, player ID. This ID is known as the index, right? This one. And then here I want to give a new line \n. I want to add player scores less equal to the current score. And then I want to print player total score. Player scores, and then give the ID player ID. So now I want to put this for loop into the while condition. While max of player scores less than max score, right? So here when player scores less than max score means 50, so this while loop should stop the execution. And then I want to print here. So here for max score, max of player scores, and then so now I want to know the winning ID of player. So I want to find winning ID of the player dot index max score, right? So now I want to print the final winner, player number winning ID plus 1, and then your total score is max score, right? So here first we have created the dicing roll, and then we have created a while loop that how many players will play the game, and then I started with the max score, and then so for all players we have allocated 0 for initial scores. This max finds the maximum score in the players, and then it has to be less than max score, and then we have this for loop, and finally we are printing max score and then winning id, and then here +1 and +1 means because the for loop starts with the 0, so I want to increment with the 1 so that it will give a right numbering, right? Now let's run this program. Enter the number of players you want to play. Here I'm entering 3. So here play number 1 turn just started because the for loop starts with the 0. I'm incrementing it with the, so that's why it is giving 1. Would you like to roll or not? Yes. So you can see player 1 rolled 1, so his turn is done. So now player 2's turn is started. Keep on rolling. Keep on rolling. Score becomes 18. So I want to stop his rolling, and then yeah, you can see player 1 turn just started. Player 2 score becomes 38. So now I want to execute. Yes. Would you like to roll or not? Yes. Yes. His score becomes 53. So now I want to stop rolling. Yes. Yeah. The total score, player 3 total score becomes 91. Player number 3 is the winner. So here you can see I've given the maximum, right? So for maximum score I've given 50, but player can play up to the 91 also, 9100 also, but the maximum winning score is 50. He can play greater than 50 also, right? So guys, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel and give me some support. So finally your project 1 is completed. So after this video I'm going to begin with the part number 3, right? So thank you guys.